This is Super Aging, a show about how to age well. And this week I'm talking about some of the fallacies, aka excuses, that we come up with around exercising. Hi, I'm Marianne from One Life to Flourish. I'm a wellness mindset coach and an intuitive energetic healer. And I'm passionately interested in exploring what changes we can make now so that we actually set ourselves up for our best life that will go on for as long as possible. So tonight I am looking at fitness fallacies. So I have to admit I get a bit frustrated, maybe a lot frustrated, hearing some of the things that people say that are essentially excuses, but they stop them from starting, getting fit. So it's, sometimes it just makes me a little bit frustrated. Now, some of the things that they say have possibly been passed down by older generations. I've certainly heard some of the older generations in my family say these things in the past. Now, some of them definitely come through to us through sort of more subtle messaging in like ads and even news broadcasts and other media. And some of them really come through as part of I'd say, the ageist attitude that is really quite pervasive. I can't even say that word tonight. In our society. So it kind of spreads out everywhere. So I'm going to start by saying that no matter what you've heard, our bodies are made to keep moving through our whole lives. At no point in our life are we intended to be sedentary creatures. So, having said that, what are some of these fallacies and why are they not a good idea to hang on to? So, I'm going to focus on 6 of probably the most common ones, some that I've heard people say, some that you sort of hear a little bit in the media and so on. So the first one that comes up a lot is, oh, I'm just too old. No, you're not. I can relate to this one because this was my excuse, even when I wasn't that old. But it was basically my excuse to sit around on the couch and become a potato. Seriously, I don't know why I did that for so long. Once I started moving my body, whole new world. So basically, your body can handle movement and all different kinds of fitness at every age. Obviously, you need to tailor it to what you're interested in, to how your body's feeling at any point in time. But being fit as you age, so keeping it up as you age, actually helps you to be that super ager, to age younger. So, and basically avoid lots of health issues that come about because of us being too inactive. So we essentially need to get up every day and move through the day. And then also put in some other forms of fitness as well. So basically doing that lowers our chance of heart disease and other health issues. And, it can be lots of fun if you find the right activities, and there's no excuse. There's so many different things that you can do. So you're not too old, just get out and do it. So the next one, and this is kind of 2 sides to it. So sometimes people will say, oh, I'm getting a bit too old. I'll hurt myself if I start exercise. But there's also kind of I suppose, an idea in society that when you get old, whatever that is, you can't exercise because you will hurt yourself. So this is kind of the idea that as we get old, we have to become sick and feeble and we've got to look after ourselves and so on. But that's only true if we actually don't exercise. So if we're exercising, then it's not actually a problem. And the fact is that if we are keeping fit, if we're moving, if we're doing all of those things, we actually tend to have less chance of hurting ourselves. And particularly if you're doing things like, say, yoga and Tai Chi and that sort of thing, you can actually improve your balance and that will also reduce your risk as you age of actually being injured in falls and that kind of thing. So you can actually improve your balance at any point in your life. So all of these things can be improved just by a bit of practice and a bit of focus. All right, so that's number 2, about hurting yourself. Not true. You're actually going to have more healthy life if you keep going. All right, next one. I just don't have the energy to exercise. I suspect this was one of my excuses as well. But anyway, the fact is that the more active you are, the more you are actually able to get done throughout that particular day. And the reverse, the less you exercise, the less active you are, the more tired you actually feel. So it's kind of a balancing act. Now, being active actually does a few other things as well. So it actually lowers your resting heart rate, which is a really positive thing, and it increases your metabolic rate, also a good thing. So your metabolism is going up as well. Now, also doing all that movement, being fit, increases the blood flow through your body, which means that your blood is delivering more nutrients and oxygen to your muscles, which then makes you feel less tired. All right, so no excuses. When you exercise, you definitely get more energy and more capability to get more done during the day. So, that's one thing that I find every time I exercise, just gives me that sort of boost of energy. And, I get a bit more done. I feel more positive. All right, so next one is probably not, maybe I have done this one a little bit. I've certainly heard people say it, and this is, I can't afford to exercise, which is total rubbish. Let me say that. So basically, I spend almost nothing on my fitness. I would probably spend less than $100 a year in total on my fitness. If I focused on it hard enough, I could get away with probably spending nothing, except maybe buying some decent shoes to exercise in. But, you can get them secondhand anyway. So what can you do that's free? Well, lots of things. Walks are free, and walks are amazingly beneficial. Walk around your neighborhood. If you live near the beach, go to the beach. If you've got a park near you, go to the park. Lots of places have walking trails. If you're really stuck, just do laps around your backyard. Seriously, there's so much you can do. YouTube, amazing. It has got so many videos that you can just watch on any kind of fitness that you can think of, and probably some you've never even thought of. Can give you some good ideas about stuff to do as well. So, any kind of exercise you want to do, I've done, dance, I've done aerobics, I've done weights, I've done qigong, and many other things. So there's an endless resource on YouTube. You don't even need to buy, weights or gym equipment or anything like that to improve your strength. If you look into it, there's plenty of exercises where you're actually using your own body weight as a resistance that can keep you strong. Otherwise, the old tins of soup or peas or whatever work as well as a set of weights. So there's so many things you can do. Now, if you really want to do activities with someone else, see if you can get a group of friends together. Choose a time and a place and actually go walking or, whatever, some other kind of activity, whether you're interested in. Could be dancing, could be anything. If you are wanting to try and get a little bit more social, then check and see if there's any free community events or really low-cost community things that you can join in. The weather is also not an excuse. And it doesn't have to be expensive, because guess what? If you've got a shopping centre that's kind of enclosed, you can just go and do laps around the shopping centre. It does get a bit hard when you have to wear a mask, but it's all good. All right, so that's number 4. Plenty of ways that you can do your fitness without paying a cent. All right, next one. Now, this one I've heard a lot for people as they kind of get into their 50s and their 60s. It's like, I just can't move like I used to. my first response to that would be that may be because you've stopped moving. So when I worked as a massage therapist, this was something I often saw with people coming in. I would have people who during mostly their 20s were really, active. They'd be part of sports teams and go off and do lots and lots of active stuff. And then they hit 30 and they just kind of stopped. And it impacted on their body because they weren't really doing anything. So keep moving, start moving. During my 30s and 40s, I basically did, virtually no exercise whatsoever, except for, a few little patches where I got suddenly inspired and I'd do something for a short amount of time. So I actually started to exercise again when I was in my early 50s, after about 20 years of not doing much at all. And yeah, it took me a while. I had to build up my stamina, I had to build up my strength, even my flexibility, probably especially my flexibility. But, now I'm at a point where I'm doing stuff that I would not have even thought of doing in my 20s, where I was reasonably fit. So, start small, keep going, and you'll find that the movement gets better and better as you go. All right, so just find those small places to start, keep going. No excuses. All right, so the last one that I'm going to talk about, this is by no means the last of the fallacies and the last of the excuses, but this one is exercise will hurt my joints. So this one is particularly common amongst people who suffer from arthritis, and that's entirely understandable. But it's interesting that there's been research and studies done around exercise and arthritis, and it's actually been found that people who have arthritis who move regularly experience less pain overall. And I don't have arthritis, but I certainly had knee pain when I started doing my, exercise, was off and on kind of thing. And I had actually used this as an excuse. Sore knees, can't do it. I had trouble walking upstairs and downstairs for that matter, all of that kind of thing. But what I found was as I actually started moving and building up my capability, I got my joint pain down to basically zero. Every now and again there'll be a little twinge, but, nothing much. So the fact is that when we have movement, when we exercise, we reduce our pain in the joints, and we also improve the mobility of the joint itself. So we get better joint health overall. So that one doesn't work either. All right. So basically all of these things are essentially excuses that we can tap into to avoid moving. Okay. And moving is really one of what I would say the cornerstones of becoming a super ager. You need to have some kind of movement every day to really improve your overall health and well-being. It is so important. So you need to get rid of the limiting ideas around movement. Start small, keep moving a little bit, and it's amazing what changes you will find. That is my experience. All right. So the other thing I would say is, find stuff that you actually want to do for movement. You don't have to do what you did when you were 20. Okay. You don't have to go out and jog or, I don't know, do team games if you don't want to. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Find some kind of stuff that you feel joyful doing. Maybe there's something that you kind of always wanted to do and you haven't. This is a good time to do it. Experiment a bit. Maybe you wanted to learn some dancing of some kind, or maybe rock climbing or archery or something. I don't know. Just try some stuff out. Have a bit of fun with it. Now, what I would say is if you find that you do struggle with getting started with exercise, if you find that you are coming up with the excuses and buying into the excuses, it may be time for some support. So if you are interested in getting some support in changing your thinking and your habits around that, then that is one thing that I can help you with. So if you are interested, just put a yes in the comments and we can have a little bit of a chat. Or alternatively, I have put into the comments a link to my booking site. So you could book in for a 30-minute discovery call and we can have a chat. All right, so that is basically me for tonight. Get out, move, make sure that you're getting in movement, about every hour in little bits. So even a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes there is better than no movement at all. So good moving this week is what I would say. Have a joyous week anyway. So embrace moving. It can make you feel so much better anyway. All right, so I will be back next week. At this point, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but it will be something to do with how we can age well. So join me then and, have a really great week. So good night.